Cool. All right. Okay, I'm going to finish chapter 4. So, for my mom, end of chapter 4, I went and saw her today and waved through the window, and it was so exciting that I came home, and before the rain comes, I'm going to read, because every time I come outside to read, it's going to rain. So I was on the top of, it was chapter 4, I was on the top of page 40. Okay. Ooh. And so I'll read until it rains on me, and then maybe I'll put the awning down. Okay. Wealth begets wealth. Some years before, his uncle had died and left him an inheritance that he'd used to purchase a rambling 2-story Victorian home next to my friend Vera, whose house was its mirror twin. Rosie caught sight of me, and her gaze flicked to Henry, alone at his table. She closed her cookbooks, stood, and reached for an apron she tied around her waist. Idly, I watched her move around the bar and pour a blackjack over ice for him. William passed her a sparkling wine glass, and she filled it with Chardonnay and placed it on the bar in front of me. The wine would be second-rate, but the service was superb. She delivered Henry's whiskey, while Cheney pulled out the stool next to him and patted it. "Have a seat. How you been?" "Good," I said. As I settled next to him, I caught a whiff of his aftershave, and the familiar association set off a warning bell. I shifted into business mode. "You're actually just the man I was looking for," I said. "You remember the name Christian Satterfield? Convicted of 19 counts of bank robbery according to the Dispatch?" You're actually just the man I was looking for," I said again. Know him well," he said. "His last 2 jobs, he targeted the bank of X. Phillips." "Your father's bank?" He pointed at me to confirm. The dummy hit the same branch twice. First time, he walked off with 13 grand. Second time, my cousin Lucy Carson was at the teller's window as a trainee, which was bad news for him. He couldn't find the note he'd written, so he told her he had a gun, and he threatened to shoot her in the face if she didn't empty her drawer and fork over the cash. He handed her a canvas tote, so she did as he requested and then pressed the button for the silent alarm. Good for her. Serves him right. The paper said a couple of tellers were so stressed out they quit. Not her, just the opposite. She testified at his trial, but downplayed the shooting threat. She said he was a gentleman, soft-spoken and polite. She said she only went for the alarm because she could see he was hurting and he wanted to be caught. Once he went to prison, they carried on a feverish correspondence, pouring out their hearts. Her more than him. He's the kind of guy women think they can rehabilitate. She have any luck? Nah. She was 22 years old and fickle as they come. Last I heard, she'd taken up with the biker accused of killing his ex. Nothing like a bad boy in need of emotional support. What's your interest? I've been asked to get a contact number for him now that he's out on parole. This is for his bio mom, who's got money to burn. She'd like to smooth his transition, should the need arise. Nice. I thought to myself. I thought so myself. I left a message with one of the federal parole officers, but I don't want to sit around hoping he'll call me back. I figured when the kid was arrested, he must have listed a local address. So I thought I'd start there. I can help you with that. Back then, he was living with his mom over on Dave Levine. I'll have someone in records pull up the address. I'll call tomorrow and give you what we have. I'd appreciate it. Can I buy you another beer? I said. Thanks, but I better pace myself. I'm having dinner with a friend. Catch you later then, I said, and I slipped off the stool. I returned to Henry's table and took a seat. What was that about? He asked. Work. Everything with you is work. No, it's not. Rosie appeared and gave us each a paper napkin wrapped tightly around a knife, fork, and spoon. She usually presented us with the mimeographed menu, which was strictly window dressing, as she always told us what she was serving us and brooked no argument. She tucked her hands under her apron and rocked on her feet. Tonight is big treat. Do tell, Henry said. We can hardly wait. Calf brain is very fresh. How I prepare is rinse and place in large bowl into what's trickling cold water from tap. I'm peeling off filament is like membrane covering. Then I'm soaking in vinegar water. 1.5 hours. All the time cutting away white bits. Henry closed his eyes. I may be coming down with something. I said, me too. Rosie smiled. Just teasing. You should see the look on your 2 faces. Wait, and I'm surprising you. And surprise us she did. What she brought to the table were plates on which she'd created a visual composition of grilled kielbasa, puffy fresh herb omelets, oozing pale cheese, and 2 salads with a light vinaigrette. To one side, she placed a basket of dinner rolls. Henry'd made them the day before. For dessert, she served us baked plums wrapped in a flaky pastry with a cap of softly whipped cream. Yummy, yummy. Oof. We finished dinner, and Henry took care of the check while I shrugged myself into my jacket. We just stepped into the chilly night air when Anna Dace appeared, coming toward us through the newly minted dark. The 2 of us were related, though I'd be hard-pressed to define the family connection, which stretched back a generation to my grandmother, Rebecca Dace. My father was Anna's father's favorite uncle, making us, perhaps, second cousins? I don't know. I might also be her aunt. She had her hair pulled up in a careless knot, she secured with a clip. She wore a navy blue peacoat over jeans and military-style boots. I may have neglected to mention that she's shamelessly pretty. Not a trait I consider relevant, though men seem to disagree. She brightened when she caught sight of Henry and clutched him by the arm. Hey, guess what? I took your advice and put my money in mutual funds. I allocated the investment over the 4 types you talked about. I stared at her. Allocated? Since when did she use words more than 1 syllable? She and her 2 siblings had come into money at the same time. I did, though the source was different. I'd expected all 3 of them to burn through the funds in a heartbeat. Being the mean-spirited creature I am, I experienced a pang of disappointment that she was exhibiting good sense. Henry said, "Not the whole of it, I hope." No way. I set 20 grand aside in a separate account, so I'd have access to it. Not that I'd touch it," she added in haste. "I'm giving you an A+, he said. "I invested in mutual funds. How come I didn't get an A+? I interjected. Neither paid the slightest attention. When Henry realized Anna was on her way into Rosie's, he pushed the door open again and held it, allowing her to pass in front of him. As he did so, I looked up and saw a truncated slice of the interior, a vertical slat that included a narrow view across the tables to the bar where Cheney sat. In that split second, I saw him turn and catch sight of Anna. His face creased in a smile as he got up. The door closed, but the image seemed to hang in the air. Chaney's throwaway line hadn't really registered until then. Dinner with a friend? Since when was Anna Dace a friend? Okay, finally, that's the end of chapter 4. Chapter 5 is next. I'm going to just start reading chapter 5 until it rains. All right. Sorry, didn't mean to kick it. All right, chapter 5. Everybody ready? All righty. I think you will be ready. Ready. Chapter 5. The next morning, the office phone was already ringing as I turned the key in the lock and pushed open the door. Yep. There we go. I think I better just stop at the end of chapter 4.